right, do we have sound? Yes, we have sound. Hear me? Perfect. Now we just need this screen. Let's see if we can see the screen, and we see other screen. So let me just go back to the preferences, make sure we're not sharing the wrong screen. For now, you can see me in Japan. Beautiful, beautiful place to go. If you have never been to Japan, you should, because it's really nice. Let me see. This place. See if I can mirror. All right, I see that screen, but I don't see it here, but that's fine. There you go. All right, so let's get started. Welcome again. I know it's the last day. It's right now the afternoon, and you're probably tired. So the whole idea for my sessions and the way I like to present is to make things simple for you. I know you're tired. You have seen a lot of code so far, a lot of different solutions, and you're probably overwhelmed about all the technology we have seen so far. So my idea is to, again, keep it simple. I'm going to show you how you can easily create videos programmatically. And I'm also going to share a little bit of my journey so you can understand where I come from and also where I'm heading. And maybe if you want to join in my journey and be part of that and also create your own videos yourself, you will be able to make it happen as well. So let's going to talk about videos. And I love this subject because it's what I do every day. And again, I'm going to show you and share with you a little bit of my story and how I ended up blending the filmmaking knowledge and background that I have with also the technical stuff that I know and I've been doing for more than 15 years. But I wanted to start with some facts because this is real and everything that you're seeing right now on the screen, it's something that I'm not making up. There are different surveys from Cisco, from GitHub, and multiple developer surveys that happen every year that talks about video. The first thing is, according to Cisco, by the end of this year, 82% of the internet traffic is video. Now take a moment to digest that number because it's pretty huge. 82% of the whole internet traffic going on by the end of this year will be video. And I'm not making this up. Probably you have seen a lot of Instagram videos, TikToks, when you woke up or when you are ending your day. You're probably watching some YouTube videos, and I know that we're streaming this right now. There's probably people watching this video right now. That's part of those facts. The other thing is that 81% of the developers prefer watching videos versus written for learning. Now, I'm not saying that books or written content is bad. All I'm saying is that it's much easier to digest video nowadays. And I'm going to talk about that on the last fact listed in this number because there is a biological, it's not a psychological, it's a biological fact about how we process video. Also, 74% of developers are more likely to try a product after watching a video about it. Now, probably some of you, if I explained AppSmith yesterday, if you came to my session, I was talking about AppSmith, probably some of you went to the AppSmith YouTube and starting to see some of the videos that I have over there about how to build applications with AppSmith. We also have the documentation, but the way that people prefer to learn about a product is video. And there's also Google. Like when you go to a search and you try to find something, now Google is ranking videos on the top. They're showing you videos right in the search results when you're looking for something. If there is a video about it, Google will present it at the beginning. Because again, video is now the present content, the present format and the king content. Also, developers spend an average of 7 hours per week watching tech-related videos. Again, if you're learning technology, you're probably watching videos. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you is how our brain processes video. So we have two eyes. You cannot see mine, but we have two eyes. And each of those eyes have 16 million nerves. You hear me well, 16 million nerves. Each of those nerves are carrying data to our brain. Now imagine the amount of information you can digest in your brain when you're watching a video or with your eyes. Like right now, you're watching me, but your eyes are also sending information to your brain about the context, about the people sitting around you, the monitor on the top of me. Although you're not paying attention, your eyes is sending that information back to your brain. And in the future, you'll be able to remember all of that. Who were sitting next to you, if someone was wearing like a very fancy t-shirt, like a green t-shirt I see over there, very impressive. And again, that's because my eyes can see all of that information. So long story short, video is the king content. And if you're not exploring that right now for your career, you're losing a big advantage. How many of you are looking to create videos for your own channels? Is anyone interested? For those who didn't raise your hand, is because you don't care about video or because you maybe lack of knowledge for video? Consider that, because the fact that the way I've been growing my career has been through exposing myself on videos, to sharing knowledge, to sharing my experience via vlogs, and people finding me on internet has been because of creating videos. Now, there's also a true fact about videos. Making valuable videos is hard. I've seen very bad videos that has a lot of budget, and I've seen really good videos that were just recorded with the phone. It's not just about creating videos. It's about sharing valuable content. It's about storytelling techniques, which is another world I'm not going to be talking on right now. But again, it's not just making videos. It's about making videos that are valuable to your audience. So I'm going to be talking about a specific audience, which is developers. That's the audience that I'm creating content for. And the developers are a very unique audience. They're very different to other people. They can feel, they can smell when you're selling something to them. They can cut through a lot of stuff and understand that you're trying to sell something to them, or that you don't understand what you're talking about. A developer can just go away to another video very quickly. So it's really important to be authentic, to have empathy to the developer's problems. But again, if you don't have the tools to do that, how would you even try to create a video for a developer? So who the heck am I? Going back to my story, I've been working on technology for over the last 15 years. My name is Kevin Blanco, and I come all the way from Costa Rica just to explain this to you. Now, Costa Rica is a beautiful country in Central America. If you haven't had the chance to be there, you should. Sunny beaches, piña coladas. Does it sound nice right now in this cold weather? It does. It is really nice. So you want to go to Costa Rica? I'm leaving tomorrow. We have a couple of spaces, so if you want to join us, you should. But why do I come all the way from Costa Rica to speak about this? It's because I believe every one of you have a very special and unique story that must be told. And if you don't believe that, if you don't believe that the unique blend of your experience, what you know, what you have lived, is not shared, is not something that is worth sharing, then you should reconsider it. Because I do believe your story matters. And I want all of you after this session to have the courage to create a video and to start talking about it. Now, probably your first videos are going to suck. My first videos were really bad. If you go to my YouTube channel, you shouldn't, but if you want to go to my YouTube channel and find the first video I did, it's really bad. Didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know what I wanted to say. But when you're practicing and growing your, what you're trying to achieve, you're going to get better. So I've been creating different videos for developers for over the last 15 years. I have more than 5,000 videos created on my YouTube channel, and also for the company I work for, which is AppSmith. It's the best low-code and no-code platform out there, and you should check it out. But I've learned the things that developers like and the things that developers don't like. So I'm just going to share a little bit about how you can go and create great videos that are interactive by writing code. So most of you who are here right now, it's because you care about technology, and maybe you have some experience writing code. And believe me, having my career as a filmmaker and a video editor and a certified DaVinci Resolve, which is a software used in Hollywood to edit and color grade movies, it is a whole career. It's not easy to create a video. So once you start recording, you say, hey, I'm Kevin, and I want to explain about this. And you want to grab that piece of video and put it in an editing software, you're going to find that it's a lot of overwhelming thing. So what I wanted to give you is the tool so you can create videos with the things you already know, which is coding. So there is one little bad thing about video, and I struggle with this every day. The problem with video is that it's not data-driven. If I create a video right now and I see it in the next 3 years, maybe 3 years apart, a lot of the things that I said in that video are probably not accurate. And it happens to me every day when I'm creating videos for the company I work for. A video I did 2 years ago is no longer valid because the interface changed a lot. Or if I have in my own channel a YouTube video about how to do text-to-speech in Google Cloud Platform, believe me, that doesn't exist anymore. Everything I showcase at that moment is different now because Google Cloud Platform has evolved, because some of the things that I shared doesn't even exist anymore. So that's the big problem about video. It's really hard to update it versus text content, because I have blogs, articles that I just go edit and I update them, and the URL is the same. Evergreen content can be accessible and updated, and that's the beauty of text content. And that's the big problem with videos. So what if we could do data-driven videos? Information that I can extract from some place, create a video, and output an actual MP4 video. That would be amazing. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you today. So let me give you an example that I have for the company I work right now. So at AppSmith, we have more than 37,000 GitHub stars. It's a huge open source project. It has a lot of contributors. It's an amazing community. And we wanted to show gratitude to the first 1,000 stars that we had in our GitHub project. We wanted to show gratitude to the first 1,000 people who started our project in GitHub. And what they told me is, we want a motion graphic video count that displays the 1,000 users, their profile picture, their username, and the data is started with a sleek scrolling animation. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, I have to go to GitHub, find those users who started our project, grab their username, their profile picture, the number of the stars they did, and create a motion graphic video. That will take me a lot of time. Like, if you have ever done a motion graphic video, that will take a lot of time. Not because of the animation itself, but because of the data. I will have to create a card row for each of the GitHub users, and I will have the list of those GitHub users, their profile pictures, their username, the date they started the project. So that will be a pain, to be honest. Now, I wanted to show you the end result. This is the first 1,000 stars we got on GitHub. This is the list of those users who gave a star to our project. And believe me, if you were to do that by motion graphics with After Effects or any other nonlinear software, it will be a big pain. Now, what's the other problem? What if they want to change it? What if they want to make not 1,000 but 2,000 users? Or not the first 1,000 but the last 1,000? I will have to go back to the project and pretty much recreate the whole thing. Now, what if I could do this data-driven? Just call the GitHub API, give me the star list, send it to a code project to iterate through that and generate the animation for me. That would be sleek. Well, that's how I did it. And it took me just like, what, 10 minutes? Versus probably a week of work doing After Effects or DaVinci Resolve Fusion Effects. So that's one of the examples I'm going to be showing you how I built. But let's talk about what we're going to be using to do that. And it's called Remotion. Remotion is an open source project to create animations and videos with JavaScript. And the output will be an actual MP4 file you can upload to YouTube. Remotion is extremely simple. All you're going to have is scenes. And those scenes are basically React components. Have any of you written something in React? Do you know React? That's great. You're going to find really familiar with this super simple code. You're going to use CSS, very standard CSS, or any other framework for styling. You're going to use standard React components. And at the end, Remotion is going to pack everything for you and do the things that you want to have and output as an MP4 file. The fundamentals is really simple. If you understand a video, basically a video is composed of frames. A frame is just an image, and when you put together a bunch of images, we're going to have a video. That's how, for example, these amazing movies that they create a scene, take a picture, move one hand, take a picture, move another hand, take a picture. That's pretty much it. That's how you make a video. It's just a bunch of pictures gathered together. So when you talk about frames per second, it's just the amount of pictures that are grouped in a second to compose that video. Most of the videos are there, like films, there's 24 frames per second, or you can get fancy and say 23.9 frames per second. Or in Europe, we're talking about 30 frames per second. Or if you see those beautiful videos that are about beaches that are 60 frames per second, or slow motions can be more frames per second. At the end, what it means is just the amount of image that were put together to create a second of that video. So a composition in Remotion is just that, one frame. And what you want to do in that frame, you can do whatever you want. You can put any React components over there with their styles, with their fonts. It's just, at the end, a React website that you can put on an image and then animate them throughout a different set of frames in the video. So here we have just an absolute fill. This is basically covering the entire page. And we're putting there just a set of props that we're sending where we want to justify the content, if we want to align elements, the font size, background color, etc., and then just content. All I'm rendering right now is the current frame is, and I'm rendering the frame. And then how do we create a video with Remotion? Now that we have a set of components, we can then create a composition with the amount of frames per second, the width and height, and the duration in frames. So how many frames are we going to be rendering? And that's it. All you have to do is pass the component, which is the main React component, which can be obviously composed of many other React components, which at the end is how we build websites in React, right? It's just a bunch of React components glued together to build a website. Well, you can do the same, glue a bunch of components, and build a video, which is quite amazing. So let's take a look at the demo. I want to show you a very simple demo. This is the same demo that you're gonna have if you start using Remotion. Okay, let me make this big. This is the GitHub example. Let me see the other one. So there you go. Let me make this full screen as well. There you go. So let's go to the root page for this example. And let's actually go back to the browser and see it in action. This is the Remotion, let's say, editing interface or preview interface. And this is the video I'm going to be showing you. Welcome to the DEVFest in Calgary, and a small text over there. And this animation that shows up continues to wheel and then goes up a little bit to showcase the title. Now, if I wanted to do that, if any of you wanted to do that on After Effects or DaVinci Resolve Fusion, that will take a lot of knowledge and a lot of time, to be honest. It's really simple, but if you want to do that animation yourself in After Effects, it will take some quite knowledge to do that. Now, we can do that very easily with just an SVG. If I told you you want to do that in React or just plain HTML, CSS, you can very easily do that because we can just use an SVG and animate it. So that's the example over there. So if we see the code, we will see there is a composition. And that composition has the information that I just told you. It has an ID, the component, which is the React component I'm passing, the duration in frames per second, width and height, the schema, which is just props, and then the default props. Now, these default props are just values I'm sending to it, but I can edit them in the Remotion editor. I will show you that. So the cool thing is we can literally change those and then re-render a whole new video. I can define the typography, the colors, and any other of the parameters I'm going to be passing to my component. I can then re-edit them prior to rendering the video. So that means I could have 2 different videos prior to rendering by just changing the props. That's amazing. I cannot do that in DaVinci Resolve, to be honest, or in Adobe Premiere. And then I have another composition. I can have 2 compositions. The other composition is the logo, the one that you see over there like spinning and scrolling. That's the other composition. I can have multiple composition in a remotion root, which is the root component that you can see right now. If this code seems very simple to you, great, because it is simple. If it doesn't seem simple to you, you can learn React very quickly. Like, you can find a YouTube course on React and learn React in just a matter of 20 minutes, maybe an hour, and you will understand what a React component is. It's very simple. So if we see the hello world text that we're passing over there, it's again just React code. There's nothing different in there that you will find on a standard React project. And at the end, all I'm sending is a structure, a HTML structure, which uses remotion components. In this case, I'm passing a absolute field, and the absolute field is just going to be the whole screen in the width and height that I'm defining in my props. And then I can have multiple components inside of there. I have my logo, as you can see there in line 63. There's the logo over there, and I'm passing some of the parameters as props. Then we have the sequence, which is going to be starting on frame 35, and that's the title that says, "Welcome to YYC DevFest." And then we have the other sequence starting on frame 55, which is the subtitle that appears underneath the title. That's it. There's not much code that we have over there. It's beautiful that I can create a video out of that. So if we go back to the remotion editor, we can see that here over there. We have the 2 sequences. We have the logo. This is just the logo component. And then we have the whole sequence over here that has the text, the subtitle, and the logo. And as you can see, the default props that we pass to the composition can be also found over there. So it means that I can literally just change this text over here. I can change this color. And I can also change this. And now we have a whole different video with a different color, a different text, and I could create more props, for example, for the font family, or for the speed of the animation. Like, I could literally make all of the different values of this animation as props that you can change in the Remotion UI, and then all I have to do is render this video, and I will have an actual MP4 video. That, to me, is pretty impressive and pretty easy to achieve. If you have ever done anything with code, you can literally just go and throw those React components and start building your own video. Now, let's see the GitHub example, which is a little bit more complicated, but it's not hard to follow along as well. So let me find the root component. Here it is. And again, the root component is nothing different to what we have seen so far. It's just a component that I'm passing, a duration in frames, the amount of frames per second is going to last, a width and height, and some props are going to be passing for this video to work. In this case, what I'm passing is the GitHub repository and the GitHub organization. So that means that right now I could just change the GitHub project and the GitHub repository and generate the same video I just showed you at the beginning with the GitHub stars of that specific project. I cannot do that with After Effects or DaVinci Fusion. It's just not something that we can achieve. So if we go to the main piece of code, we will see that we have the content. And here in the content, there's going to be some logic about how it's going to be using a project called Stargazers, which is basically going to bring the stars from those GitHub projects, and it's going to do that animation by itself. Now, I didn't wrote any of this code right here. I actually just used Gemini. I asked Gemini, how can I build a GitHub Stargazer that basically is going to animate through it? He gave me the code. I put it on a React component. That's it. I have a video. Like, I want to be honest with you. I'm not the I mean, I haven't wrote any React code over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. I was a front-end developer like 6 years ago for an agency, and I haven't done any React code over the last 6 years. So I'm a little bit rusted over there, but you can just use Gemini and ask for some code, put it inside of Remotion, and over there you have a video. That's pretty neat for me. One of the things I wanted to show you is, let me see if I can find it. I'm also using Tailwind. If you have used Tailwind, you can do that for your styling. And here's all the mathematic logic that is going to make the video to start slow and then make it go fast. Like if we see the video once again, you will see that appears the first one, and then all of those goes pretty fast. And then as it's going to the end, it's going to go slowly, slowly until unveiling the last star. Again, I didn't do any of that code. I just asked Gemini for that. And it seems pretty complex. There's a lot of mathematics over there. But again, you can use Gemini to ask for the things that you need now that you have the Remotion stack at your disposal to start creating video content. That's pretty neat for me. And you might be wondering, where do we get the content? Like, how do we get that from the API? That's what I wanted to show you here in the fetch. We have the fetch data, that TypeScript, and this is where I'm making the API call to the GitHub repository. This is the one with GraphQL, in case we want to use GraphQL. There we have our API call, and it's going to be using the parameters we pass from the main composition, which is the GitHub repository and the GitHub organization, to get the stars from the GitHub API, and then inject that to the animation composition that we have, and it's going to generate that video for us. Again, if I want to change this, I will just change the GitHub parameters, like the amount of stars, the GitHub repository, and I will have a completely new and different video with a whole different output. Or I could just change the value of the frames per second and the animation so I can make it slower. And again, the result will be in a totally different new video. That is not something we can do on a non-linear editing software. And that to me is very powerful, to be honest. Now, so far, do we have any questions? I'd like to make a stop here so we can refresh our minds. I don't know if right now you have any questions that I can ask? I can answer, sorry. All right. One last step. Now, I know this might sound a little bit weird to you, but I want to give you a homework. I know that sounds unfamiliar on a conference like this. Like, who is this guy giving me homework? I want to go back home and have a coffee and have a nap. But do it for next week. Like, when you process the whole thing you just lived in this conference, I want you to actually create a video. I want you to actually try Remotion and create a video for yourself. And if you were one of the people who raised your hand at the beginning and said, I want to create more video content, I want you to do it. I really encourage you to start creating content, because that's one of the main ways that I could expose myself, that I could share my story, and that I could be seen by other companies, that I could be seen by other people who were interested about the things that I knew. And that also helped me in my career. So for those of you who are really interested in creating videos, I encourage you to do it, and then contact me. If you want to have feedback, if you want to have a session where I can give you more information or more feedback, I wanted you to do it. So right now, I'm going to be sharing you my social networks. So if you want to reach out to me after the small video you did, make it happen. I will be more than enlightened to help you in your career. I've created and produced a bunch of videos in my entire career, and I will be more than happy to help you on your journey. You can find me on Twitter as Kevin Blanco Z. In YouTube, you can find me as Kevin Blanco Z as well. On LinkedIn, Kevin Blanco with a clap. That's very easy to find. And also, my website is kevinblanco.dev. You can see also some of the different articles I've wrote about creating valuable videos, about the storytelling techniques. For example, there is one of the famous articles I've wrote, which is also a video, how you can implement Hollywood structures like the journey, the hero journey, or other structures to create valuable videos for developers. So again, I encourage you to go right now to my channel, start learning, create your first video if you haven't done it, and if you're creating videos already, send me the ones that you have, and I'll be more than happy to give you feedback and help you on your journey. Now, if we don't have any questions, this will be the end. And if you find me around and you have questions, also make sure to make it happen. Thank you so much. So no questions. All right. We have time, so no worries.
I don't know, it does work? No. Hello?
Yeah.
So on one of your slides, you actually had this transition where there was like lines of codes, moving very fast, and it was all done in this cinematic effect. Like you look at the side, so there is a bit of an angle change. Is this something you can do with the promotion?
Remotion?
Oh, remotion, yeah.
Yeah, totally. You can do that. Whatever you can do with React, you can do that as well in Remotion. Now, Remotion has an API which is completely different to a standard React components. It's a 3D composition where you can do and manipulate anything you want. Now, that's a little bit more complex. Again, I didn't want it to make this like a super technical session. But now that you understand what Remotion is, what a composition is, what is a frame, what's the frames per second, how can I animate things between frames per second. Now that you know the basics, you can go to the Remotion documentation. They also have a great YouTube channel where people explaining how they achieve things. So I think that right now you have the basic understanding to go and start exploring yourself. But yeah, you can do that with Remotion.
Thank you.
Right.
Hi, great
Hey.
talk. Yeah, so for videos, generally there's the video part and there's the audio part. So my question is about audio. So after creating the video, how do you generally make the audio so that it aligns with, how do I say this, like the right frame where you want the audio to stop? So like the example you gave with the React logo spinning, just before the text came up, if you wanted to say something up to where the text showed up, like how do you handle that in your
That's a great question.
video
Yeah.
production?
You have two options. So the first thing is you do it on Remotion. Remotion also handles audio. So you can, for example, download from any open source or any open audio, any free audio for animations. For example, there's a famous whoosh, the whoosh. So you can do, but you might want to have that whoosh when the logo goes on the top and the text appear, like whoosh. You can download the whoosh sound, put it on your project, and replay that, reproduce that, sorry, on your React component. That's a way. The other thing you could do, which is very simple to do, now that you have the animation, you have done the hard part, you can record your own audio. For example, what I did with that GitHub video, I was actually creating an audio where I'm thanking all of these users who started our project at the beginning and helped us grow. That's an audio I recorded with any software that records audio, for example, GarageBand. Any Mac has a GarageBand, or if you're on Windows, you can download any free software to record your audio, and then you just put it on the top. You can do that with any software like CapCut, which is free to use. You can use also the DaVinci Resolve, which is also super easy. But now that you did the hard part, which is the animations, the transitions, and your video, putting audio on the top is just a matter of dragging and dropping and aligning that in the portions that you want. So if you want to stay on code, you can do that on Remotion. But if you want to do it via also a non-linear software, you can do that as well. Thank you for your question. Oh, we have other questions. That's great.
Hi, I'm guessing that the hardware requirement for this is very low. I know, for example, DaVinci Resolve requires a strong GPU.
Oh, yeah.
How about this one?
There's no hardware minimum recommendations from Remotion. Obviously, when you render a longer video, you're going to need more time for that to render. But since for example, I'm doing videos myself every day, I have a separate computer, a Windows PC, just for rendering. I love editing on my Mac. I believe the Mac OS is a really simple operative system to use. But unfortunately, it's not the best for rendering. It doesn't have the best GPU. So all I do is send it to my big gaming PC, and that's where I'm rendering the video. The one that I do right now with Remotion, all of the videos I'm doing lately is with Remotion. I just do it on my Mac and right on the browser. I just click render, and it's going to do that. And the whole, one of the things that is important, now I don't want to get too technical about codecs, but a better codec has more information on it, and it's going to be higher quality. At the end, that's what it matters. H.264, H.265 is like the standard that people upload to YouTube, but if you need something more high quality, for example, to render on a big screen, you might want to have ProRes 444, which is a large encoding bitmap. So also, Remotion can render ProRes, which is amazing for long format or something you want to showcase on a billboard or something like that. So that's very powerful.
Yeah, you can do it on the Mac.
And I can do it on the Mac. Just going to output ProRes right outside. Awesome. No more questions? Any other questions? All right. Like we say when we do productions, it's a wrap. Thank you so much.